once again here to tell you a little bit about my life. How do people start videos, you know? I don't know how people do it. Let's try again. Hello! So, today I want to talk about kind of my journey to becoming a quote-unquote good student. My process of getting into grad school and kind of how I was not necessarily non-traditional, but just not like your typical everyday student. You know, I didn't do the whole take a whole bunch of AP classes in high school and get college credits and go to a four-year college. My process was a little bit different. And it took me a really long time to be what most people would consider like a good student. I was not a good student. I was a struggling student. There was not a lot of people who really believed in me. Yeah, I struggled a lot. I didn't even believe in me. I was kind of just like, I'm just like a regular person and I'm not gonna be excellent. I'm gonna be average. I was probably gonna be like a secretary. Like, I did not believe in myself. But I kind of found ways to combat that, and I figured that this would be a really great place to put it. So I have 15 steps on becoming a better student. So step one would be to figure out what you are doing wrong. I'm sorry, I have my laptop out and I have my notes because I'm not going to remember what to say. So if I keep looking at my computer, just understand that. But the first step is to figure out what you are doing wrong and fix it. So a lot of times we have ways of kind of displacing our failures on other people and blaming other people for us failing, whether it be, you know, our job calling us in and we weren't able to study, or our teachers not being good teachers, our professors, or our friends like distracting us, and you're just like, oh, I didn't do well on the test because of so-and-so or because of this. You have to figure out also what it is that you're doing that's making it so that you're not successful. So a lot of times when you have like 10 minutes of free time, instead of trying to write everything out in your planner and figure out your day, maybe you like go on Instagram instead, or maybe instead of studying like a week before the test, you're like, oh, Grey's is on, I'm gonna watch Grey's with my friends. So those are things that you also have to look at. Is it really someone else's fault, or is there something that I'm doing that I can change? So you got to find that thing that you can change and change it. That's my first step to becoming a better student. My second step would be to find out what your professors are doing wrong and remediate that. So that is obviously easier said than done. You cannot just go to your professor and say, you're doing this wrong and you need to fix it so that I can do better in your class because I'm failing because of you. Professors that you can talk to. So the way you would kind of approach the situation is like, hi, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is blah, 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 and I'm from your blah, blah, blah 101 class. Always introduce yourself because, believe me, professors do not remember all their students. So definitely important to remind them who you are. But just be like, I just want to let you know that I learned really well with videos, or I learned best with PowerPoints. Just as a suggestion, like I said, it depends on your teacher. You kind of have to read the crowd with this kind of thing. So in terms of your professors who are not as understanding, I'm a very realistic person and I kind of just want to keep it real with you guys. For the most part, there's nothing you can really do to change those teachers. So when I say remediate, find out what your professor is doing wrong and remediate it, that doesn't always mean go to them and tell them. Sometimes that means, okay, this person teaches like this and it's horrible and I don't learn anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of the parts she talked about in the chapter. I'm going to read that chapter thoroughly, take notes on the chapter, and teach it to myself. Like 9 times out of 10, that's what you're going to end up doing. It's very rare that you can go to a professor and have them change the way they teach, because your teaching persona is your teaching persona. You can't just change it. That's just not reality. So, sorry. So, oh, there we go. So step 3, make sure that you're studying something you actually enjoy. So for people who are watching this that may be in high school, that doesn't really apply because you just study what you're supposed to study in high school. You got to take algebra, you got to take geometry, you got to take English, but in college, you kind of have like a little bit more leg room. You get to choose a little bit, especially like your junior and senior year. So you want to make sure you're doing something you actually like. If you are not interested in photography, don't be a photography major. Don't do anything unless you actually like it. And I know that seems like common sense, but there are a lot of people who major in something that they don't actually like. It's okay to switch. It's okay to be in school a little bit longer. Don't stay in school in a major that you don't really like because you want to graduate on time. College is meant to get you into your career. So if you're not studying something you actually like, you need to change it. Because when you're studying something you actually like, you don't really feel like you're studying. You're kind of just like getting ready. You're passionate about something. You spend time doing it. So when I was in my first years of college, when I was at my community college, I was not a good student at all because I wasn't interested in what I was studying. It was general art. It was general studies, liberal arts. So I took statistics, I took anatomy and physiology, like the whole body, not just the speech mechanism, the whole body, 1 and 2. What else did I take? I took like oral communication classes that I have no interest in. And I didn't really do well in those classes because I didn't really care. And if you don't care about something, you're not going to spend as much time as you're supposed to on it. So definitely major in something that you're interested in because then you're not going to feel like you're studying. So my next tip is find a study buddy who's on the same level as you, but also has the same mindset. Remember that second part. Also has the same mindset as you. So a lot of times when you finally come to that point and you decide like, I'm going to be a good student, I'm going to do the right thing, you try to find the smartest person in the room, you find the smartest person in your class, and you try to put yourself on them, like study with me. That does not always work because most of the time those people who have the best grades are not interested in studying with someone who doesn't also have good grades. Kind of just like, why would I waste my time? So if that person actually does say yes to you and you actually do study with them, sometimes they're so far ahead of you, things are not as hard for them. It's not as hard for them to get information into their brain. They're just passing you. You're reading through the notes, they're reading through it together, they go through a slide and they're like, okay, I understand that, next. And you're just like, wait, I don't get it. A lot of times, what would be better is studying with someone who is also struggling but wants to do better because you guys can motivate each other. And you know that they're not going to be ahead of you in any way. So you guys are going to be on the same page and you'll do well. You'll progressively do better together. So that's a really important step. Contrastly, for step 5, I would say find a study buddy that's doing well, because if you find someone that's doing much, much better, I told you guys I lose my train of thought. And then I'm just sitting here just like, well, now I feel like a turd. But I'm not going to like stop it and rewind. It's crazy. What was I even saying? Step 5. Oh yeah, find a study buddy that's doing well, because they can push you. They can teach you what they know. So obviously, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on the person, and it depends on how much time they're willing to put into you, helping you. What are you giving to them? A lot of times, not that much. So are they going to want to waste their time? Not always. So you kind of have to gauge that a little bit. Go out and find things that make you feel motivated. Sometimes you get such a bad grade, you feel so crappy about it, and you just sit down, you feel sad, you don't want to study anymore, you're kind of just like at a point where you're just like, I give up. Don't do that. If you have a little bit of cash on you, Go out and buy some stuff for yourself. I know that sounds so ridiculous, but that honestly works for me. So what I do a lot of times is I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to Target with $30 only. I'm not gonna bring anything else. And I'm gonna treat myself to $30 of stuff from Target. And I usually get like organization stuff. So like I bought a clipboard and a new file folder. Those things make me feel like so fresh and clean and like ready. And it's like, oh, I could do this. Like even though it makes me sad, like, and it's like hard, like I could do it. So do things like that for yourself. Treat yourself, okay? And I feel like I should have this higher on the list. But step number 7 is pray. Pray more, worry less. You need to pray. And I personally pray to God. But I mean, you can pray to whoever it is that you believe, whatever it is you believe. But that just brings me so much peace and serenity. If you're not a religious person, you can also meditate. You don't have to be religious to meditate, I don't think. Go to yoga, kind of get in touch with your spiritual side, because that helps you realize that there's just so much more to life than this, like this one thing. There's so much more to life than school. And also when I pray to God, it makes me feel like I have hope. There's faith. Sometimes you can feel so hopeless and you're just like, I'm a failure and there's no going up from here. I have no control over the situation anymore. But guess who does? He still has control over the situation. So a lot of times I just kind of put it in his hands. And that helps a lot. So, number 8, go to office hours. They're free. Well, nothing's really free. But you pay for them and you don't use them. Those professors have to be there during those office hours. If they say they're going to be there, they have to do it. They have to stop what they're doing to meet with you and help you with whatever it is that you need. So what I like to do with my office hours, because believe me, I go to office hours as a graduate student. Absolutely. I have no shame in that. I need to go. Like if I don't understand something, I'm gonna go. So what I like to do is as the professor's doing her lecture, everything that I don't really understand, I star in on my notes. Then I go home, and when I'm actually studying the material, if there's anything that still doesn't make sense to me, even though I'm going through it, I'll write that down on a piece of paper. And I go into the office hours with this piece of paper with all my questions. And most professors are like really good about like walking through it with you and helping you. And most of the time they're going to be pretty excited that you even decided to come, because most of the time nobody ever does. So the fact that you went, and it's just going to show you care about your education, you want to do better, and that looks really good. So when it's time to do your grade, and if you're just like a little trickle away from like an 80 instead of a 79, they'll give you a little trickle. So number 9 is something that I definitely struggle with, and this is talking about your feelings. Talking about your feelings will make you a better student, because if you hold everything in to yourself and you don't talk to anyone, I mean, this could be anybody. It could be a counselor, it could be a pastor, it can be just your friends. You can literally just talk to your friends. Talk to someone about how you feel, because a lot of times you feel by yourself, you feel like you're not going to do any better, and you just feel alone. Even with prayer, you still feel alone, and you just feel like you're not going to do any better. And you kind of shove everyone else in your life away and don't let them into what's going on with you. That is so unhealthy, but it's hard to do, and I struggle with that a lot. I don't talk about my feelings. I don't talk about my grades with my friends, but sometimes you should, you know. And if they're really your friends, they're going to be there to help you. So obviously I'm not talking about just like any stranger that you, like your acquaintance, someone who's like truly your friend. If they're like someone who's your friend that's like in the same program as you, even better. Because I can guarantee you some of those feelings you're having, someone else is having, and it feels so much better to talk it out. And a lot of these are like more emotional things because that's a lot of the time what stops us from being a good student. So number 10 is do not get discouraged. I kind of chimed on this a little bit in the earlier steps, but this is something I also struggle with. I'll be laying in my bed and I'm just discouraged. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too hard for me and I'm not going to succeed. I'm not going to get better. I don't want to do it. I want to quit. Don't quit. It's not that often that you get to such a low point that you can't come back from it. You always have the opportunity to come back from it. So wait it out. Keep pushing. A lot of times you're just pushing through the obstacles that you physically can push through, but you stop. You get discouraged. Keep pushing. You can do it. I'm telling you. If I can do it, believe me, you can do it. Use a planner. This is so helpful to me. I literally could not live without this. I don't know how people do live without it because I don't have like a mental calendar that I just remember everything on. I used to, but now with everything that I have to do, definitely does not work. So I use the student planner from Horatio Printing. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. So yeah, I use a student planner from Horatio Printing. It's I think July to August. August to July. So this is a lifesaver. I don't want to show you guys too much because I do have like client information in here. Actually, I think I can show you some of it. So I have each class kind of color coded. And I'll just cover up like the one client initial that I have in here. So here we go. I can also do like an actual planner walkthrough, but for now I'll just show you. So I have my to-do list for each week and I make the to-do list based on the things that I have over here and then other things that I have to do. So these are all my due dates. This week was not a bad week, but believe me, it gets a lot worse than this. This is nothing. This was like a nice week. And that's not including all of the clinic stuff we have. Ugh. But as you can see, everything is color coded. And that's like my weekly to-do list. Very, very helpful. And this book is awesome because it also has like planner pages, like, not planner pages, project pages. If you want to like do a project on it. I've never used it, but it's there for you. And something else that I use from Horatio Printing that I absolutely love is this A New Day daily planner pages, I guess, like the actual pages. So you put your top 3 things that you have to do for the day, and then this is the morning, like the things you're going to do in the morning, these are the things you're going to do in the afternoon, and these are the things you're going to do in the evening, and then these are like any notes you want to leave for yourself, and then you can just put that in a pocket in your planner. I don't have anything on there, right? No, I don't. Okay. Yeah, you can just put that in the little pocket in your planner. I have my little name right there. It's cool. I like it. So step number 12 is find a place where you're comfortable studying and study in that same place every single time you study. So this can be like a Starbucks, this could be your school's library, this could be your room, this could be your desk. So when I was in community college, I did not have that kind of area. I didn't have a place where I studied every day. Also, when I was in high school, I used to study on my bed. That works for some people. That's not really realistic. You can't just study on your bed. My bed is where I sleep, and that's what your bed should be. So when I was in community college, I used to study in Starbucks. I used to study in my bed. I used to study in the school library. I used to study while I was at work. That's not very conducive. You have to find somewhere where it's just your niche. Because some places I study and I literally can't concentrate. And then some places I'm so on it. So for me personally, I have to have the perfect lighting, the perfect setting, the perfect table, the smoothness. Not everybody's like that. Most people don't really care. But for me, like I said, this is the step that got me to being a better student. And that was one of the things that helped me. So when I was at my 4-year college, and this is where I feel like I did really well. I studied in this area called the deep quiet area, and we weren't allowed to talk. We weren't allowed to eat. We weren't allowed to like have clicky keyboards. So you only went in there if you were willing to do those things, as those are the things you wanted. And like once in a blue moon, like someone would be talking, and I would like take my phone out and text the librarian, like, someone's talking in the deep quiet area. I was that girl. But only because that's the only place in the whole school where I can go where I can have complete silence. There's literally was nowhere else that you can go. I'm pretty sure most schools have something like this, so find yours. I used to go in the deep quiet area. I used to have everything set out. They had these big tables, and there was never more than like 9 people in this room. It was a pretty big room, and there was like 9 big tables, and I always sat at one. I sat on the same exact seat. It was like right under the light, so like perfect like LED lighting. And that was so helpful for me because I don't know what it was about that room, but it just made me concentrate so much. And now I have my desk, which I like, but it's not very big, and it's in my room right across from my bed. So I don't concentrate. I just know that I concentrated so well in that deep quiet area, and I know that I don't concentrate as well as I used to. That just comes with the territory. Like I said, for step number 1, figure out what you're doing wrong and fix it. What I'm doing wrong is not being flexible enough in where I study. So that's something I had to fix. So I study here, and I study here every single day, and I don't study anywhere else, and it does help me. I study during the daytime a lot so that I'm not just like gravitated towards my bed, because once nighttime hits, if I'm in this room, I'm going to be in that bed. I'm not going to be sitting at this desk. But that's easier said than done. It does not always happen like that. Is always have something to look forward to. So this goes both ways. So one way that I mean this is every week should have something where you're going to do something fun. Otherwise, you just feel like you're just working, and you just are working into nothing. So a lot of my friends will hang out on Friday nights. We'll just like stay at my place and like watch TV. Maybe we'll go to the movies. Maybe we'll go to a winery. I just always like to have something that I'm gonna be doing that helps get me through the week. So I'm like, oh, well, you know what? On Saturday, I'll be doing this. So I just got to get through it. But I also mean in your major. So I know that when I'm done with school, I'm going to get to be a speech language pathologist, and I'm going to learn so much from so many different people. I'm going to start making that money. Okay. If I was just going to school and I didn't know what I was going to be doing, I'd be like, I don't know why I'm putting myself through all this stress. I have nothing to look forward to. Always have something to look forward to. Always have a goal. Always have your future in mind. Not in the forefront of your mind, because that's just not healthy living. But, the back of your mind, think, if I do this, eventually I'm going to be whatever it is you want to be, whether that be a speech language pathologist, whether that be a doctor, an occupational therapist, an audiologist, who knows? Take a break. If you are just studying nonstop from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., you're going to get burnt out. And honestly, by 1 o'clock, all that stuff that you're telling yourself, you're not going to remember. So 1 o'clock to 8 p.m., None of that stuff is going to stay in your brain because you're burnt out. Your brain is tired. It can't take any more information if you're just sitting there just like, you have to give yourself time. Take a break like every 2 hours. I'd say take like a 20-minute break every 2 hours. If you're on like a non-stop, I'm going to study all day session. Whether that be to like get a snack, maybe watch like 20 minutes of, don't watch 20 minutes of Grace because there's no such thing as watching 20 minutes of Grace. You watch like an hour of it. Maybe watching like 20 minutes of YouTube videos, something just to give your brain like a brain break, you know? Like I give my clients brain breaks because Lord knows it's necessary. You need it. One of the most important steps is know that you have the control to do better if you want to. I say this because at some point I became so upset, so depressed about my grades and how I wasn't doing well. And I kept saying, I can't do it. I can't do it. I want to, but I can't. I'm just not a good student. I'm not a good learner. You can come up with every single excuse, but if you want to do well, you can. You have that control. You have the power in your hands of your life. There are going to be confounding factors. There are going to be things that make it so you can't succeed. You got to push through them and push those things out of your way. This is your life. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do well. Don't let anyone stop you. You can do well. You have the power to do that. So, that is all I have to say. Thank you for watching. And thank you for all the people who watched my first video. I was not expecting to get anything on there except like a couple of my friends. But no, I mean, people watch and I really, really appreciate that. I hope that people continue to like keep up and watch because I really enjoy making these videos. They're very therapeutic for me and I hope that they're helping other people. So thank you again for watching. I'm not sure what my next video will be yet, but it'll go up on Saturday, not Sunday. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye!